Well, this election surprised a lot of people. The fact that everything went well and the fact that, the results came out pretty early. The pre-election situation, however, was tense. But it seemed that there was relative peace during the election. Did you notice any old or new patterns this time?
The Edo elections may have ended, but the Nigerian 2023 elections perhaps have just started. With these elections, there are three ways we could look at it. We could look at what happened in 2016, look at what happened in 2020, what happened yesterday, and then let's look at what this reveals. So tonight, I'd like to start with looking at how it all started in 2016, how Godwin Obaseki, candidate Obaseki then, how he won his election in 2016. And if we take a look at that, and we look at the areas he had his victory, you will notice two things. The first is the ex-governor, Adams Oshomole, assisted him to win Edo North. Godwin Obaseki had the margin of victory in Edo South, even though Edo North was the region where he had his largest margin of victory. And in Edo Central, where historically the PDP, even though Edo Central is the smallest senatorial district, the candidate of the PDP then, Pastor Ezeyamu, won in Edo Central. That's exactly what happened in 2016. It was a victory for candidate Obaseki in the Northern District and in the Southern District. And the total results then showed that they had a margin of victory of about 66,000 votes. Now let's fast forward into yesterday's election and look at the difference. Now what had happened this time around was the former governor Adams Oshomole with candidates Pastor Ezeyamu were able to win the Northern District, which is where the former governor Adams Oshomole comes from. And so in 2020, we've seen a victory for Pastor Ezeyamu in the Northern region, and we've seen the governor winning Edo Central and winning Edo South. And so the result shows that his largest victory this time around came from the Southern District of Edo South, which is where you have the 7 local government areas. And so in summary, what it reveals is there are 3 things. The first is it shows that the former governor Adams Oshomole is still a force in Edo North. He was able to get a lot of votes for candidate Obaseki in 2016, and Obaseki won the Northern District. This time around, supporting candidate Pastor Ezeyamu, the 2 of them were able to still win that Edo Northern District. This time around, we've seen the governor winning Edo Central and Edo South, and that's the summary of what really has happened.
What is the political outlook? Are there any major political calculations at this time?
Well, there are significant political calculations, especially if we look at the Southern region. Now, the Southern region now is the only region that has all the governors from the same party. And don't forget, there are still 4 more states that will be having governorship elections before 2023, but none of these states are in the South. So it is expected that going into the 2023 election, all these 6 states will go into elections with Southern governors. In the Southeast, the APC has only 1 governor. In the Southwest, the APC has 5 governors. In the Northwest, the APC has 6 states that it governs out of the 7 states. In the North Central, the APC has 5 governors out of the 6 states in the North Central. And in the Northeast is a tie. So the APC is governed by is governing 3 states, and the PDP is governing 3 states. In the summary equation as of today, the APC controls 20 states, the PDP controls 15 states, and APGA controls 1, and that's in Anambra. So that is the situation as it is. But what is important as well, which we've noticed in this election, is the voter turnout, Amarachi, was relatively low compared to even what happened in 2016. So this time, only 1 out of 4 registered voters came out, and that showed in the results. So for instance, in Edo North, we see Pastor Ezeyamu winning all the local governments in Edo North, apart from Owan West. So in summary, Pastor Ezeyamu had 104,000 plus votes. Godwin Obaseki in Edo North only had 82,000 plus votes. Look at what happened in Edo Central. In total, we had 5 local governments in Edo Central. Godwin Obaseki scoring 60,000 plus votes. Pastor Osage Ezeyamo scoring just approximately 35,000 votes, 34,900 votes. And that gave Obaseki some leeway, some margin, even though he lost in the north. But the governor's largest victory in yesterday's election came from Edo South, where he polled over 165,000 votes compared to Pastor Ezeyamo's 83,000 plus votes. In other words, approximately half of those that were accredited in this election came from Edo South. And the victory and the margin of victory that they polled in Edo South really decided this election. But people have asked, is this the end of the political calculation? What it shows is this is not the end, Amachi.
We're just beginning, actually.
This is not even the beginning of the end. This is perhaps the end of the beginning. Winston Churchill.
Thanks again, Babajide. Always enjoy the way you close your arguments.
The pleasure is always mine.
Thanks again.